Genesis G80 is the large luxury saloon you probably haven't considered in your perusal of models in the class for cars like BMW's 5 Series, Audi's A6 and the Mercedes E-Class. Those contenders are difficult to take on directly, but someone seeking something a little more left field in this segment, say a Jaguar XF, a Lexus ES or a Volvo S90, ought to consider this G80 too. It might well surprise you.
Just over 3 decades ago, Toyota's Lexus brand arrived in the luxury saloon sector with a car badge, the LS400, and shook things up considerably. It would perhaps be asking too much for this Genesis G80 saloon to have quite as much of an industry impact as that, but there's no doubt that this car has enough about it to make customers in the luxury segment take a second look, if they could be persuaded to try it. Getting to that point could be problematic for Genesis, Hyundai's premium brand, but owners seeking something just that bit different could well be attracted by this G80's Bentley-esque looks, lavish cabin and superb customer service backup. Let's take a closer look. The G80 launched with the 4-cylinder 2.2-litre 210 PS diesel we're trying here, with the alternative of a 304 PS 2.5-litre 4-cylinder turbo petrol unit if you prefer to fuel from the green pump. Both are mated to an 8-speed automatic gearbox. Genesis has developed a 365 horsepower all-electric version too, which gets an E all-wheel drive system, can go up to 323 miles on a single charge of its 87.2 kilowatt-hour battery, and has solar roof panels to boost range. The EV model's pretty silent, but even if you stick with combustion power as we have here, you can expect exceptional levels of drive refinement, aided by special noise-cancelling technology along with acoustic muffling side glass. And though this is no sports saloon, it's not slow, even this 4-cylinder diesel managing 62 miles an hour in 8 seconds. You can trim 2 seconds off that time if you go for the 2.5-litre petrol variant. It's just 4.9 seconds for the electrified model, which uses a powerful 272 kilowatt drive motor. To replicate those figures, you'll need to have selected the most urgent of the 3 provided drive modes, Sport. The other 2 are Eco and Comfort. The latter best, of course, for experiencing the best that the standard electronic control suspension system has to offer. Its adaptive damping effect is aided by a camera that monitors the road surface and adjusts the suspension to suit the tarmac tears and potholes you're about to pass over. Likely customers will want the latest in semi-autonomous drive tech, which of course is provided here, along with plenty of gadgets, including a self-parking system that will parallel park your G80 for you via the remote while you stand outside the car. Ideal if you're trying to get into a really tight space. You expect this car to be something of a luxury wafter, and sure enough, there's the rather light and woolly steering that tends to characterise this type of big saloon. Once we got this G80 to a few secondary roads, though, we found that it actually handles better than we'd expected, though it's a pity that you can't have the ELSD electronic limited slip differential that's available on the GV80 SUV model. If you've the optional Ergo Motion driver's seat, selection of the Sport mode tightens the side bolsters around you, which through the twists and turns, presumably as intended, distracts you a little from noticing the kind of pitch and roll that afflicts all big saloons of this size. Which is not surprising, as this one tips the scales at over 2,400 kilos. But likely buyers aren't people who are going to want to throw this car about. Like its GV80 SUV stablemate, this G80 saloon certainly has plenty of road presence, primarily due to its huge G-Matrix front grille and bisected LED headlamps. The all-electric version gets its own more aerodynamic version of this grille. This appendage has prompted some to see in this G80 shades of Bentley Flying Spur, encouraged perhaps by the rather similar winged Genesis bonnet badge, though to us it looks more Chrysler-esque. Size-wise, this car competes against full executive models like BMW's 5 Series, Audi's A6 and the Mercedes E-Class. The wheels are 19 or, as in this case, 20 inches in size, depending on the spec you choose. The rear has shades of Mercedes CLS 4-door coupe and looks almost hatch-like. The split LED tail lamps are separated by spaced Genesis lettering. There's a subtle roof antenna and lower down a silver-framed exhaust on each side. But it's the cabin that Genesis thinks will really sell you this car. Sure enough, take a seat up front and there's a very high quality feel and an almost Bentley-like knurled finish to some items of switchgear. One of the first things you notice is this simply enormous 14.5-inch central screen. Then you take in the wide centre console with its curious ivory-coloured central rotary infotainment controller and the horizontal vent that stretches from the instrument binnacle to the passenger door. Lots of effort's been made to push this cabin up market. The soft-touch dash with its white double stitching, the brushed metal finish around the rotary gear selector and door cards with delicately fashioned speaker vents. Genesis also includes standard double glazing for the front side windows. Textured two-tone indicator tips and arcing door panels complete the high-end ambience. Quite a lot that you'd really want, though, requires top-spec trim and or costs extra. This quilted leather upholstery, the real wood interior trim and the ventilated ergo motion driver seat, for instance. You'll also pay more for this 12.3-inch instrument binnacle screen with its smart 3D graphics. Without that, you get an 8-inch display. The screen changes in colour according to your selected drive mode, turquoise in eco, bronze in comfort and grey in sport. We mentioned the centre screen. It has two styles of home page, either a picture with a temperature readout fading into navigation mapping, or you can swipe across to a screen full of icons. As well as the usual mapping, media, audio and phone sections, there's one for connected services, weather, calendar, etc., and another for a suite of Genesis Live features, info on traffic, filling stations and parking along your route. Useful touches include a voice memo feature, a quiet mode which shuts off the speakers in the back, and a passenger talk function that amplifies the driver's voice through the speakers so that they can more easily talk to those in the back. There's plenty of space to store things, a big glove box with a pen clip, a deep twin-lidded bin between the seats and a sliding panel at the base of the centre stack, which eases back to reveal space for a wireless charging mat and a couple of USB-A ports. The door bins are quite small, but you get an overhead sunglasses compartment, twin cup holders by the gear selector and ticket clips in the sun visors. Let's take a look in the rear, noting the classical piano-like jingle that accompanies entry and exit. Don't worry, you can turn it off. There's very comfortable space for two adults here in the second row where you can really stretch out, though headroom isn't especially generous. The top luxury line spec model also adds rear climate controls, and if you want more, an executive pack adds dual rear monitors, heat for the rear bench, side window blinds, an electric rear glass curtain and a centre armrest with a control box. Out back, there's a 424-litre boot. And if that's not large enough, the rear seats fold almost flat, electrically, if you've a luxury line model specified with the optional executive pack. Prices start at just under £38,000 for this 210 PS 2.2-litre diesel model. You can also talk to Genesis about a 304 PS 2.5-litre petrol variant, priced from around £43,000. Both of these figures are for base premium spec. You can upgrade to plusher luxury trim in either case for just under £5,000 more. Obviously, you'll need more still for the fully electrified model. Across the range, prices are comparable with the entry-level figures for cars like Audi's A6, BMW's 5 Series or the Mercedes E-Class. But with those models, you'll need to spend a lot more to get a comparable level of equipment to that fitted to the G80. Just about everything you can imagine is fitted as standard. Genesis doesn't have a network of UK dealerships. Instead, everything is done via so-called Genesis Studios, which will be shop fronts in upmarket shopping centres. One's already been opened in London and others will follow. But you don't have to go to one of those. You can simply connect with Genesis online. Then you'll be allocated your own Genesis personal assistant who will take you through the sales process from test drive to delivery. And they'll deal with aftercare as well. This assistant won't be salaried on commission as an ordinary car salesperson would be, so you won't get any hard sell. Let's get to some equipment specifics. Where to start? Well, you get electronic control suspension adaptive damping, along with a drive mode select system and the brand's smart cruise control setup. Plus, of course, expected executive niceties like keyless entry, auto headlamps and wipers, all-round parking sensors, laminated side glass and an electrochromatic rear view mirror. Inside, there's an 8-inch dashboard cluster TFT display, dual-zone climate control, a rear-view camera and powered adjustment for the front seats and steering wheel. Infotainment's taken care of by a 14.5-inch central screen, which includes Apple CarPlay and Android Auto smartphone mirroring, a 9-speaker premium DAB audio system, voice recognition and a suite of Genesis connected services. If you opt for base premium line spec, that kit tally will be complemented by 19-inch wheels and leatherette upholstery. Upgrade yourself to this top luxury line model and the wheels grow in size to 20 inches and the upholstery leather is real and quilted. Luxury line spec also adds real wood interior trim, a heated steering wheel, a premium air filter, air conditioning controls for the rear and electric boot lid opening. There are some key options fitted that Genesis wants customers to consider. First and foremost is the Innovation Pack, which gives you a larger 12.3-inch instrument binnacle screen with 3D graphics plus a head-up display, a surround view monitor camera system, dual front adaptive LED headlamps, a wireless phone charger and a remote smart parking assist feature which allows you to park the car while standing outside it using buttons on the vehicle's key fob. The Innovation Pack additionally gives you a wider package of camera safety kit, which we'll brief you on in a moment. What else? Well, there's an optional powered sunroof. Opt for this luxury line spec, and you'll also be able to add the Comfort Seat Pack, which upgrades the driver's seat to Ergo Motion status, which means it alters support according to drive mode, and adds extra adjustment, plus both front seats gain cooled ventilation. If you wish, you can go further and add softer Napa leather upholstery and a suede headliner too. With luxury line spec, you can also pay extra for the top-end Lexicon audio system and add an executive pack which gives you dual rear monitors, heat for the rear bench, side window blinds, an electric rear glass curtain, and a centre armrest with a control box. Bear in mind that before you spend too much on all this sort of stuff, that you'll have to pay extra for metallic paint and a spare wheel. As you'd expect, as standard on the G80, there's a decent package of camera safety kits, starting with the usual autonomous braking system, forward collision avoidance assist, a setup that detects pedestrians, cyclists and other vehicles in close proximity. The brand has developed this further with a forward collision avoidance assist junction turning feature that anticipates oncoming traffic you might be about to turn out in front of at junctions. You'll be warned if that's about to happen, and if necessary, the car will be braked to avoid an impact. There's also an LKA or lane keeping assist feature which supplies a subtle steering lock if you drift out of lane or drift too close to the edge of the roadway. And a lane follow assist setup that keeps you a safe distance behind the vehicle ahead, combining with an HDA or highway driving assist feature to automatically adjust the car's speed to suit surrounding traffic. As well as that, you get all the usual passive safety features for traction, stability and braking, plus a full suite of airbags, including a centre airbag, along with a driver's knee bag. And driver attention warning, which constantly monitors your driving reactions for drowsiness, which, if detected, will prompt a warning to stop for a restorative coffee. An e-call setup will alert the emergency services with your GPS location if the airbags go off in an accident, and there's also a tyre pressure warning system. If you want more, then that optional innovation pack we mentioned adds an active rear assist, reverse parking collision avoidance assist feature that alerts you to people, objects or other vehicles when you're reversing out of a space. The innovation pack also includes a rear seat alert feature, which reminds drivers to check the rear seats when exiting the vehicle. And the forward collision avoidance assist system gains a crossing feature that also detects vehicles crossing in front of you that might be a hazard. Plus, you also get blind spot collision avoidance assist, which stops you from pulling out dangerously in the face of oncoming traffic, if necessary, braking to avoid a collision. This functionality also upgrades the car's highway drive assist system to a level 2 status that promotes a limited level of highway-based autonomous driving and can help you while changing lanes or during evasive driving with a lane change assist system that works when you activate the indicators. In this 2.2-litre diesel form, this G80 is reasonably economic, quoted at 43.7 to 45 mpg on the combined cycle, with up to 164 grams per kilometre of CO2. With the 2.5-litre petrol engine, those readings fall to 30.5 to 31.2 mpg, with up to 205 grams per kilometre of CO2. If you want to do better, then you'll need to ask your Genesis personal assistant about the alternative all-electric version. That electrified G80 can go 323 miles on each charge, and it has a quick charging system that can charge the battery from 10 to 80% within 22 minutes. The electrified G80 also has a V2L, or vehicle to load feature, that makes it possible to conveniently charge other electric devices. And to increase energy efficiency, a solar panel is built into the roof to generate electricity using sunlight. Every Genesis is covered by a 5-year care plan, which includes scheduled servicing for 5 years or 50,000 miles. With each service visit, Genesis will collect and return the car to your door. This also applies to any necessary work required, including warranty work. You simply contact your Genesis personal assistant to make it happen, who can also arrange a courtesy car. The 5-year care plan also includes updates to in-car navigational maps, and there's complimentary subscription to Genesis Connected services, which will allow you to access information services from your phone to digitally enhance your ownership experience. Let's finish with insurance groupings, which for the diesel are rated from Group 40D. It's 43D for the petrol variant. If you want a full-sized luxury saloon not defined by its badge, but by the way it looks, feels and drives, then this G80 might appeal. Particularly if you're fed up with the dismissive level of customer service that characterises some premium brand dealerships. This big Genesis sedan won't get the attention garnered upon its GV80 SUV stablemate, but in its own way, it's just as appealing a proposition, and one that starts from a considerably lower price starting point. The looks are individual, the cabin is sumptuous, and this G80 can rival the best of its competitors when it comes to ride and refinement. Those alternatives would surely shade it in terms of handling, but that kind of capability is rarely important to customers in this segment. If this is a sign of things to come from Genesis, then the prospects for this ambitious Korean marque seem strong.